We didn't just introduce one standalone product again. We introduced a family of 4 new 32-bit products this week. And we introduced Lisa a year ago, and it clearly captured the imagination and set the technical direction of the industry. It didn't capture as many desks as we wanted to. But it's clear that everyone's running in the direction of mice and windows and icons. You've seen Vision, and you're seeing sort of the early part of MS Windows, and even a rumored IBM windowing package. But what we introduced, in addition to Macintosh, were 3 new Lisas. And the first one was Lisa 2. It has a 0.5 megabyte of RAM and a 3.5-inch disk, totally compatible with Macintosh. And we introduced it at $3,495, just $1,000 more than Macintosh. The second Lisa is Lisa 2.5. It added a 5 megabyte profile Winchester disk drive, and that was only $1,000 more again, $4,495. The third Lisa was Lisa 2.10. It's got a built-in 10 megabyte Winchester disk drive right above the floppy there, and it's $5,495. Now, all the Lisas we switched over to use the 3.5-inch floppy disk drive. We feel so strongly that it's the drive of the 80s. And it's totally compatible with Mac, and we're doing something for all the existing Lisa 1 owners. We are upgrading their Lisa 1 to a Lisa 2.5. That means changing the 3.5-inch disk drives, or changing the 5 1/4s for 3.5s, and giving them a new front bezel and some new software. And that upgrade is entirely free for all existing owners. So as we move forward with the second iteration of this technology, we absolutely don't want to penalize those pioneers. And so we're just pulling them right along with us at no additional cost. But the other neat thing about all the 3 new Lisas and all the Lisa 1s is that they're 100% Macintosh software compatible. We pulled it off. And together, these 4 workstations are the foundation of what we're calling the Apple 32 Supermicros. It's a family of compatible products based on Lisa technology and 32-bit architecture. And if you look at the 4 workstations, they now span a pretty wide range of price and performance, all the way from the key building block, which is Macintosh at $24.95, to sort of the flagship in performance, which is Lisa 2.10 at $54.95. Now, let me tell you a few other things in addition to workstations which are going to form the basis of this Supermicros family. The first thing is Apple Bus. Now, as you all know, local area networks, the whole area of local area networking is a joke right now. Ethernet never really took off. IBM's been promising the world a local area network now for 2 years and hasn't announced anything. And the last thing the world needs is another local area network. So what we're going to do is simply wait until those standards emerge and connect to those standards. But while those standards are emerging, people still want to hook things together, yet they don't want to pay $1,000 per computer to hook them onto some sort of network. And so what we've done is we have built in Apple Bus to every single Lisa 1, Lisa 2s, and Macintosh. It's built in. It operates at 230 kilobits per second, and it operates up to 1,000 meters. 1,000 feet. And for about $25 per computer, retail, you'll be able to buy a little box that screws on the back that simply has a little transformer and a few connectors in it, and hook up the 32 Macintoshes, Lisas, and peripherals together for virtually free. And we think that this will be a really good idea for the next 24 months until the networking really shakes out. Sort of think of it as freenet. The next thing that we need to do is we need to print out these amazing graphics that we can create. Now we have the image writer printer, which we think is a pretty much of a breakthrough in terms of the price to do this. It sells for $595, and when you buy it with a Macintosh, it's $495. But something we're really excited about is higher resolution dot printing. And before the end of 1984, we will introduce a breakthrough in laser xerographic printing for under $5,000. And we're working very hard on that, and I think when you see the results, you'll be really happy. Next thing that we need is we need to talk to these big blue mainframes. And to do that, we've got a little box called the Apple Line box for about $1,000. It's available now, and it hooks up to any Macintosh or Lisa and talks full 3278 datacom with any IBM mainframe, does it as well or better than an IBM PC. This fall, you'll see small file servers in the 10 to 20 megabyte class that hook up to Apple Bus, and a shared Winchester that you can share among a bunch of Macintoshes and Lisas. It'll be very, very inexpensive. And then something that we'll hope to get out late this year or early next year is a Unix server. And we think Unix is a pretty lousy operating system to put inside a workstation. It's old technology and it's really big and you need a Winchester, so you can never make the workstations cheap. But we think it's a great operating system when you're in a multi-user environment. And what we're going to be doing is coming out with a server, which is a large disk, a very fast CPU that hangs on the network, that allows you to run Unix and vertical applications on top of it and use the Macintoshes and Lisa's as really sort of new wave terminals into that software. Now, we thought long and hard about whether we should come out with an IBM PC compatible. And we do a lot of market research. We have a pretty good brand out there in the marketplace, and we could have sold a lot of them. But that's not what we wanted to do. What we want to do is we want to establish a second standard in the office based on radical ease of use and the kind of power that these workstations are able to provide. But we know that if we're going to do that, we need to build bridges to the IBM world. We think there's three major bridges that we have to build. The first one, and most importantly, is for all the great software that runs in the IBM products, we've got to have better versions running on our Apple II workstations. And I think by this summer or early fall, we will have accomplished that goal. The second is local area network support. We expect IBM to introduce 1 or 2 local area networks in the April, May, June timeframe, and we will connect to the most prevalent of those networks. And the third is the 3278 data communications, which we're doing now. So we think if we build these 3 bridges to the IBM network, that we can continue to sell better computers. Now, if you go back about 100 years to the 1880s, there were approximately 25,000 trained telegraph operators in the United States. And you really could send a telegram between Boston and San Francisco and it'd take about 3 or 4 hours and go through the relay stations, and it really worked. And it was a great breakthrough in technology that had been around for about 30, 40 years. And there were some people that talked about putting a telegraph machine on every desk in America to improve productivity. Now, what those people didn't know was about the same time Alexander Graham Bell filed the original patents for the telephone. A breakthrough in technology. Because putting a telegraph machine on every desk in America to improve productivity wouldn't have worked. People wouldn't have spent the 20 to 40 to 100 hours to learn Morse code. They just wouldn't have done it. But with the telephone, within 10 years, there were over 200,000 telephones on desks in America. It was a breakthrough because people already knew how to use it. It performed the same basic function, but radical ease of use. And in addition to just letting you type in the words or click in the words, it let you sing. It let you intone your sentences to really get your meanings across. We are at that juncture in our industry right now. There are people suggesting that we should put a current generation box on everyone's desk to improve productivity. A telegraph, if you will. And we don't believe that. We don't think it will work. People will not read those damn 400-page WordStar manuals. They won't carry around these cards in their pockets with 150/WZs. They're not going to do it. And what we think we have here today, finally, is the first telephone. And in addition to letting you do the old spreadsheets and word processing, it lets you sing. It lets you make pictures. It lets you make diagrams where you can cut them and paste them into your documents. It lets you put that sentence in bold Helvetica or Old English, if that's the way you want to express yourself. What we think we've done is we've gotten us back on the track of letting us bring this technology not just to people that have them hooked up to these big blue boxes in Fortune 500 corporations. Sure, we want to sell our products to those people. But what we're really doing, the reason we're doing what we're doing, is because we want to bring this to tens of millions of people. And never before has the time been riper, and never before, with our radically easier to use 32-bit technology, have we been closer to doing just that. So with that, I'd like to ask everyone to just stand up and relax for a few minutes, and we're going to put a few tables up here and bring the Macintosh software team and one of the members of the hardware team up here and answer whatever questions you might have about what we're doing. Thanks. About the piece that they did, starting with my right, your left, I guess. Yeah.
My name's Steve Capps, and I worked a little bit on the ROM, and I helped Bruce Horn with the Finder.
My name's Andy Hertzfeld, and I worked on a lot of the system software for Macintosh.
My name is Randy Wigginton, and I wrote the word processor.
My name's Bill Atkinson. I did the QuickDraw graphics primitives and the Mac Paint application.
I'm Bruce Horn, and I worked on the ROM little and on the Finder with Steve Capps.
My name is Burl Smith, and I designed the digital logic board for Macintosh.
I'm Owen Densmore, and I did the printing.
My name's Ronnie Seabach, and I wrote the mouse lesson that you get on your Mac.À disk and the font movement.
So if we have some really great questions, we'd like to answer them. But before we do, Bill and Randy are going to run through some really quick demos, which you'll be able to see up on that screen to give you a little feeling for the kinds of things that we can do.